Good evening, everybody. I'm so excited about tonight's episode. It's going to be amazing. I feel like this episode is extra special to me.
Yes, it
We
is.
have two children, so our kids are adults, of course. But there are some things that I believe in this episode will help parents with little ones that are currently in school. It's going to be amazing. I have a special guest and a friend on the episode that she is a true gem. She graduated
Oh,
from Alabama A&M, or you're getting ready to.
I'm getting ready to graduate soon from Alabama Agricultural and Mechanical University.
Yes, okay. And she's studying education. She's an
Mhm.
educator of young minds, and I know that our last episode with Educations with Young Mind was about a couple of years ago, and I felt it fitting that since Patience and I have crossed paths and God has allowed
Mhm.
us to meet and connect, that I have her on here to discuss her passion, which is education. So, with
Yes.
that, I want to give everybody an opportunity to like and share. And keep in mind, this is a pre recording. So, when we do go live, I will be
Mhm.
able to interact with my audience and a little bit more, and just to kind of be able to give everybody, respond to people's questions and things of that nature. So, some awesome things that I feel that are we're planning. With
Yes, it
that,
is.
I want y'all to like and share this event, subscribe,
Yes.
do what we know we do as a generation, as a culture. Like, share, and subscribe. Get involved with it. And
Mhm.
if you feel that you have a passion that you want to put to the platform, please, please, please reach out to us on our follow page, on our lift page, and let me know. Hey, I want to be heard. I want to be be able to come on and talk about the thing that's in my sphere of influence.
Yes.
And so with that, we want to welcome Patience Evans to the
Yes.
show.
Yes. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited. Thank you for the opportunity to be on your platform to actually have some talk and discuss the education realm as it is in today's society. So I'm excited.
Yes, I'm excited too. I want to give you an opportunity to just introduce yourself, tell
Mhm.
us a little bit about yourself, who you are, what you do, and all that good stuff.
Yes, definitely. My name is Patience Evans, and I am from Mobile, Alabama, the birthplace of Mardi Gras. I am 26 years old. I currently attend Alabama Agricultural and Mechanical University, and I am taking up education, elementary education. So I'm very much excited about that. I originally first started in communicative sciences and disorders, but my heart has always been in education. Um, I started in A&M in August 2014. And of course, I've learned that my true calling and my gift is in education, and that's where my heart is. So I took the leap of faith and I changed my major, despite, of course, family wanted me to encourage me to stay in school, stay in the ship in one major. But I knew what my gift was, and I couldn't act anymore in disobedience and what I knew I was supposed to do. So ever since I switched over to education, my love, my drive for the field has grown, and it's continuing to grow each and every day. So I'm definitely excited about that. So yes, ma'am.
Awesome, awesome. Well, and when I met Patience, she was so quiet, and I'm like, and I'm quiet. I'm socially awkward at first. Like, I'm awkward at first when I first meet people, and so I was looking at her, and we were looking at each other like trying to, we were both on the same.
Decipher, yes.
Yes, we were both on the same playing field. But when I got to know her, and she's an amazing, amazing,
Oh,
sweethearted
thank
soul,
you
and
so
I just am so
much.
blessed to know her and see
Yes,
the caliber of woman that
thank
she
you.
is. Yes,
Oh, that means so much. It really does.
I mean every word. I just love the fact that she is educating young minds. To me,
Mhm.
there needs to be more of her in the world that's willing
Yes,
to go in and be a blessing and
yes.
till the grounds of the young minds, especially our youth, and the way that things
Hmm.
are going. I would want nothing more than my little daughter or when God allows us, we have little grands to be under.
All right now. All right. Speak into existence. Grandbabies.
Oh,
We love the grandbabies.
we want her in educating our young minds. We want her
Yes.
with her passion and her compassion and things of
Hmm.
that nature. So how did you
Absolutely.
become an educator?
Well, of course, I had to first know whenever you are finding your gift in your career, you have to know first who you are as a person. I had to have the real talk with God and ask, okay, what is my true purpose? Where
Mhm.
am I supposed to be? And I noticed as I strayed farther away from what I was supposed to do, of course, things weren't aligning up for me in the areas that I wanted to. Jobs weren't working out. Those open opportunities weren't working out. But when I did act in obedience and when I went on that path and I reached out to the right people, everything started lining up. Even now to this day, when your gift is, your gift when naturally you're placed in place and it just comes natural. You
Mhm.
don't have to think about it. You don't have to force it. You just jump right on in and it becomes easy. And I knew then I said, okay, this is where I need to be.
Mhm.
This is where I need to go.
Mhm.
And I want to do a lot. I plan to do a lot in this field. So I'm always learning. I'm always picking up those knowledge tips, the wisdom, and the encouragement from the people around me so I can be the best educator I can be
Yeah.
because you never know who you're encountering and who doesn't receive that same love at home. And I tell myself every day when I go to work, when I'm at school learning these new concepts, when it comes to when I'm going to use them in my own classroom, be mindful that you're going to reach somebody. And just like those educators who taught me, they touched me, they reached me. I want to do the same thing for somebody else's child. So they can come back 10, 15 years at my retirement education dinner and
Yeah.
they can tell me, like, Miss Evans, you made a huge impact on my life. And I want to do the same thing that you're doing too as well. So that's what it's all about for me, educating those who are coming under me. And even still, the part that I've learned in education is continue to learn. Don't stop learning.
Mm.
So that's what I'm learning now. So I'm excited about that too as well.
Mm. And in education, I do feel that that part is so important to be a
Yes, it
lifelong
is.
learner. Um,
Mm-hmm.
as we are educators, or as you're embarking on this path of education, it is very, very vital to
Yes, it
be
is.
a lifelong learner because minds evolve. Um,
Always.
I think about, and this is when you tell me that my mind goes to how our minds evolved. There was a generation that did not have social media.
Mm-hmm.
That was we didn't have the social media growing up, and
Mm-hmm.
so we had a certain mindset that we wanted to fit in, we wanted to be
Mm-hmm.
a part, but there was no online connection that brought
No.
everything together and made it
Mm-mm.
more of a frequent anxiety.
Yes.
Want to be heard, or make our declarations in the world. So now it went into social media, and that world
Mm-hmm.
became so much smaller, and that anxiety kicks in.
It does. It
It's
does.
like a constant. It went from being outside your house to now it's at the kitchen
Mm-hmm.
table.
That's it. That's it.
And you can't
We
get.
And I'm realizing that we live in an ever changing world, and we live in a world where technology is constantly changing. And that, I think about my parents' generation, and I think about, of course, my grandparents' generation. My mom, even to this day, anything new technology wise, she asks us, well, how do you do this? Because technology is changing. And, with being in education, you got to understand, I have to teach these children how to type. I have to teach these children how to construct a Microsoft document, teach them Excel because these same skills that I'm teaching them now, I have to be mindful they're going to use in the adult world. So I have to prepare them for the world that's ever changing. So I have to be quick on my feet. I have to because I understand, how the world is and what's coming. So yes.
Mm. And so, okay, what hindrances did you face going into?
Oh,
What was when you were?
listen, I know. Listen, I know my mom's gonna watch it. So, some of the first off, it was my own self doubt. That was one thing. I was watching a film this weekend, and in the film, it was the movie Harriet, about Harriet Tubman. And one thing that stuck out to me was, um, it was told to her that fear is your biggest enemy. And I was fearful of, okay, I've come this far, I've been in school for this long. What if I do change over to education? How is that going to hold me back? How am I going to be viewed from my family who expects me to, you know, make this milestone, be here, and I wanted to go in a different direction. And it was more a fear of how it's going to be viewed, because I switched over into something that I truly, in my heart, this is where I want to be.
Mm.
And of course, the hindrance of, will I have the support? Will I not have the support? How long will it take? What kind of obstacles will I face when I get into this education field? Because honestly, I've heard positive things about education. And then, with anything, you're going to hear that negative. And the negative I heard is, oh, you're going to be in school forever. And I had to deal with that. And I'm still, had that in the back of my mind. But I believe that those who trust the Lord should not be disappointed. And I have yet to be disappointed since I've, of course, switched over to education.
Yes.
So I have to remind myself, patience, you have to be mindful that you're in this position for a reason. And I will not leave you alone. I will guide you in the right direction. I just need you to stay focused and listen to my voice. And that's what I've done.
Mm.
And ever since I've done that, I've blossomed. I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of my progress. I have 15 more credits before I graduate. And I was student teach. So I'm at the end of the road. Well, I'm not at the end. I'm just at the beginning of the journey of where I plan to go. So I have to, remind myself, you've overcome a lot of obstacles. You've, of course, endured to the end. Because I have to be reminded that a lot of people don't endure to the end. Even switching over to another major, that's hard. But I have to remind myself, this is where you're supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
It is okay.
Mm-hmm.
I have to tell myself, handle myself with grace sometimes. God does it all the time. So why don't you give yourself that grace for doing exactly what you're supposed to do? So I've learned that, not to beat myself up so much, be proud of myself and encourage myself. Like, I am so proud of you. So
Yes, girl.
I'm learning to pat yourself on the back. Hey, you did good, girl. Like, I have to just like, okay, I did it. So I'm learning. I'm still learning. And I know this is exactly where I'm supposed to be. So
I absolutely love that. I love the fact that you overcame and overcoming. We're overcomers, but we still have things over the course of our lives that we have to continuously tell ourselves. And I think about when this podcast or when this platform started, we were in
Yes.
Okinawa, Japan. And
Wow.
it started in like 2007 when we first learned about Facebook. We didn't have Facebook account, but at that time it was for us it was emails. For us, the grown
Oh yeah.
we
The
were
grown folks had emails.
yes, we just did emails, and so this started from an email, a Good Morning Sunshine devotion. I did Good Morning Sunshine devotions, and I sent it out to all of our friends and the members that were at our church at the time. And I was just sending out weekly, emails or whatever, just to encourage people. And we got back to the States, and it transformed onto Facebook.
Mm.
And then I created a website.
Yes.
And I'm like, well, if I can type encouraging messages, maybe I can speak encouraging
There
messages.
you go.
And so that's how this thing happened. But through those years, there was always that level of self-doubt of maybe I'm not supposed to be doing this. Maybe I'm not
Yes.
supposed to be, A, B, and C. And so I connect with you on that we have to talk to ourselves and affirm ourselves and encourage ourselves in God to
Yes.
continue doing what we're doing, even through feeling like you're being misunderstood.
Yes.
So you have to fight through not only your own fears, but the fears and the reservations of what we perceive others to have.
Yes.
What we
Most
perceive,
definitely that.
others. Because sometimes it's our perception. It's what we perceive a thing, and
Yes.
can't when we're trying to fight through all that. you have to let God fight for you and
That's
trust
it.
His process.
Mm-hmm.
I love what
Yes.
you said about your journey is that you
Yes.
are yet trusting Him and you will not be disappointed. And
Mm-hmm.
so, thank you for sharing that. But I want to now this next question I'm excited about because we get into the meat of it. Is what have you learned in college classrooms, and how did it affect your knowledge of being, teaching in the elementary setting?
Yes. I what I want to always tell myself is don't compare, of course I do use how I was brought up in education in elementary school and those same things that I'm learning now. It's a totally different dynamic. It's totally different. It's one thing to say it, but to actually put your hands on it and
Yes.
actually see the behind the scenes. I'm learning different methods of classroom strategies. I'm learning the requirements, how you may have a child who has a learning disability, and you need to make sure that that child has the proper modifications and accommodations so that they are successful in the classroom. Which means if you have a child who needs to stand up and sway side to side whenever they're doing independent work, allow that child to do that so that they're independent, because that is their coping method so they can be successful in the classroom, so they can do their work just like everyone else in the classroom. That's
Mm,
something I didn't know, and I reflect on learning about the many learning disabilities that children have. And I think back, on students in my classroom, little Brandon used to cut up in the classroom. But now that I see, I'm reading, doing my research and learning, Brandon wasn't a bad student. Brandon had a learning disability, and that was his way of getting attention. Like, I need help. I don't know how to verbally say I need help,
mm,
but I need help this and this, and this is my way of like, hey, Miss Evans, I need help here, but I don't know how to say it. So I'm learning to be patient and not be so quick to say like, okay, count this child out, learn. I think I've learned that the first 2 weeks of having a classroom when children are starting the new school year is the most critical time. That's where you learn, how does a child interact with other students? How is a child interacting with classroom transitions? What is the child's learning method?
mm,
And, learning that learning method, does this child need help? Does this child need an IEP? Will this child need, of course, resources so that they are successful in our class in the classroom? That's the ultimate goal,
mm.
is to make sure that students are successful inside and outside the classroom, but also being mindful that, giving those resources to parents, and because it's not easy. Not everybody's parent has a college education.
Mm.
Not everybody's parents has the resources. These parents also have learning disabilities that were never catered to. We're let's be honest, we're we're African American families where, getting the proper help, is kind of a negative thing, but it's not, you
Yeah.
know, and those parents needed the same help that I'm trying to provide for their child, and to give them their support. Like, hey, Miss Erica, we've seen that Sean is struggling in the classroom. Let me give you the resources to help you. Here are the programs you can go to. I'm only a phone call, email away. Parents need that support. And, understanding that I may be the only advocate for this child. So
Yeah.
let me do my best to make sure that they're doing and getting all the help that they need. So I have to be mindful of that. So,
Yes. And I think about even when our children were younger, sometimes as parents, our mindset is we're going to defend our child.
mhm.
We be messing up. Like,
Yes.
it's really trying to advocate
And
for.
that's just the natural thing to do. Like for my child, there's nothing wrong with him. He just had a long night. But we have to be honest, and that's what I want a lot of parents to realize is, the signs are gonna be there. You notice, this child is lining up, Legos in a row in a
Mm,
repetitive form. Okay, those are the early signs of autism.
mm,
You notice at an early age that the child is flapping their hands or
yeah.
walking on their tiptoes. Those are early signs of autism.
Yeah.
And sometimes parents overlook that because the first thing you want to think in your head, my baby is healthy, my baby is whole. Yes, your child is healthy and whole, but let's get this child some help. Let's give them some resources so that as they get
Let's help
older,
you.
like let me help you so we can get the resources for your child. It's funny. It's
Listen,
definitely funny.
I'm not
But you,
okay. Look,
but
let's clear this up. We are not laughing, but it's true. I'm coming from a parent standpoint because listen, my kids are adults, so we're past that stage. But I remember when my son was in elementary school, and at the time, he I didn't realize it, but he was struggling with reading. My son can
mm,
read now, so he's in
hmm
the Air Force. There's no, don't worry about my
Good job for him.
look.
He can read. Yes, that's
Look,
what
my
we
son's in the Air Force. Don't worry about my kids. But he had he was struggling with reading. That was his struggle area. He was struggling with reading, and I saw it in a dream one night. It was
want.
for me. I
The
saw it.
signs are there. The
It was
signs.
a dream that I had that my son needed extra reading. I don't know
Hmm
how it was I forgot what the details of the dream were, but I do remember waking up. I told my husband, I said, "Hey, I had a dream that Michael was struggling with reading.
hmm
What does this mean?" And so a couple of weeks later, the teacher came and said, "We've noticed that Michael, is struggling with his reading."
hmm
But I'm gonna tell you what, had I not had that dream, had I not, I would have not known what to pray for, and I wouldn't have been prepared for that. I wouldn't have said, "Oh,
That's it.
my son is fine." But not all parents, we know
hmm
dreams are warnings for what could possibly, and not necessarily
hmm
what's going on or going
That's
wrong,
it.
but it's a warning sign of things that are to come, what we need to be in prayer
hmm
for. But had I not had that, I would not have been prepared to
Yes.
receive that. But we
hmm
just have to know that there's some things that are not, especially when you're dealing with cross races of teachers.
Mm.
And this, I'm going to say this gently because this is not about race at all.
That's not.
Sometimes we have to understand that that teacher is responsible for ensuring that the students in our classroom are successful. And
That's
so
it.
for that teacher to devote all their time to make sure that your child doesn't succeed is far to none. It happens. It
It does happen.
It
Let's
happens.
be honest. It
Yes,
happens.
it happens.
It
But there's
does.
some situations that we do have to go back, pause for effect, and say, okay, wait a minute. What's happening in our life, in
hmm
our world that we need to pour into
hmm
Johnny, and figure out how we can get him.
Figure out what we can do to get them some extra help.
Yes.
And it's totally fine. It's a scary process. The first thing parents think is like, oh Lord, something's wrong with my child. Like maybe I rubbed their head a little too hard or something. No, no, no. It's not that. It's, here's okay, here it is. Let's get them the help. Let's go to play therapy. Let's go to, these different various resources. So, because we want them to succeed
Yes.
inside and outside the classroom. We have to consider this is a child who's going to soon turn into an adult.
Mhm.
And mom and dad aren't going to always physically be here on this earth. And
Yeah.
you want to make sure that when you stand before God one day, you know, did you do your job and do everything you can as a teacher, as a parent, to ensure that your child is okay? And that's important to me. So I understand it gets a little flaky when it comes to asking for help and everything like that. But of course, go to your sources. The
Yeah.
help is there. So I encourage all parents, there's always an educator or somebody rooting for your child, always. And the resources there, and we're here to help, always.
Yes, yes. And that's something that I want to reiterate, that they are here to help. They're here
hmm
to boost and lift up and make sure that everybody's successful and
hmm
not out to get as much as they are. Hey, because to focus on one child would take away from the entire classroom.
Oh, yes, yes. And you have to be mindful of that, because you have some students, okay, I know I got to give AJ a little extra time, but he needs that. That may not be something that another child may quite understand. Like, hey, AJ needs the extra attention. But, Sammy's not going to understand that. Sammy's like, well, why am I not getting the same attention? So you have to understand, like, you don't want to take away from the whole classroom. That's why we make those modifications and those accommodations for a child who may need the extra help. Okay, AJ, you're going to sit by me today. We're going to go over reading together. You're going to help me pass our papers.
Mhm.
He needs that. and then incorporate that with all your students. So that's something I'm learning to be mindful of, not to include or exclude anybody from the learning process, but include everybody so one doesn't feel left out.
Yes, yes. Now, what changes have you seen in education as being an educator? What changes have you seen?
Oh, I've seen a whole. I believe it was 2 years ago. I took a course. It was math for elementary students, and how I learned long division. We borrow, carry over, bring down, use the arrow, bring down, borrow, bring the zero down. That is long gone. So I had to relearn. I believe it's Common Core math. That it's a process of math where it's understandable for them. So I was in the classroom having to learn the whole process of math all over again. What I learned in elementary school, it is not the same method that is used today. It's more of a visual concept. It's more of a way of kind of making it a little bit easier for them. But I remember it wasn't so easy for me. I had to borrow a No, we're not using calculators. Now the process of math is totally different. So
Okay.
I'm learning that, and then also, you know, learning that, you can't always say the same things. Our teachers told us, my mom's generation of education, they were paddled. I didn't get paddled in the classroom. Now that's totally out the window. So I'm learning that you have to be, of course, cautious in what you say to students. Be mindful of everything. You
Yes.
know, I just recently took a DHR course about active supervision.
Okay.
And one thing that I learned that she mentioned, she said, you cannot threat a child. And I'll give an example of, okay, AJ, I'm going to call your mom if you continue to act up in the classroom. I can't say that in the classroom, because that is an active threat. I can no longer say that to a child. I recently went to DHR training last week, and you cannot say that to a child because that is a threat. And I'm like, oh, that's all my teacher had to tell me.
It's not a threat. It's a promise. No.
And so, look, it's a promise. She's on speed dial. I'm calling her now. I'm just letting you know now. But I'm learning. I'm learning now, and I have to be honest. This is a softer generation.
Yeah.
This is a totally softer generation. You can say one thing to me, I'm like, okay, that's it. I'm not going to act up anymore. This generation, you have to kind of walk or tread on water with them.
Mm.
And I understand because I come from a generation, my parents come from a generation where it was more of, it's confused today as verbal abuse, but it was just discipline to us. It's
I,
totally different now.
yeah, I feel like this is not fair. Well,
It's
so
not.
first, the first thing I want to unpack is the fact that the first thing I want to unpack is when you were talking about the math. So the math for me, when I was younger, I was good at math. I was really
Mhm,
good with numbers, which is why I evolved into analyzing the stock market and
mm,
understanding. I love numbers. That is my
mhm,
thing. I have and I shared this before. I have this demo account for the stock market that I can trade
mm.
as if I'm in the live market, and my win percentage is going up. Which Maurice like, we need to figure that out to see.
I was about to say, you're going to make us some money. I can hear
Yes,
Maurice now. So that you could be
yes,
using this
yes.
to
And I
make us some
told him, I
money.
said, okay, we're gonna put money in it, but I need to make sure that my win percentages and my calculations are correct
Hmm.
before I put my personal money, because you can lose
Hmm.
everything in 30 seconds,
Mm.
10 seconds, and
Gone.
your whole account has been bottomed
Gone.
out. So I love math. I love the numbers and, just knowing how they work and all that other stuff. But my children doing math when they were younger, it was a challenge because I'm like, this is how you do this.
Hmm.
This is how you work the computations and the problems. And they would say, Mommy, I can't. The communication breakdown was, that's not how you do it. And I said, as long as you
Yes.
get the right answer, who cares? That's
That
what it's
is.
about for us. For us, it was, for our generation,
Hmm.
it was, as long as you get the right answer, there's
That's
like
it.
4 or 5 different ways that you can get this problem worked out. And to me, I felt that that was a better method because it teaches them problem solving
Mm.
multiple different ways instead of limiting their mind.
Limited. You just said it right. You
You know,
just said it. You just said it right there, Erica. Limiting. We used to have to go all the way around, work hard to get to what the answer that we need. They've made it a little bit easier,
it shouldn't be.
and it shouldn't be easy,
Yeah.
but they've made it totally easy for them to get to the ending round. Where I remember jumping through hurdles, doing this and that. It's made, and I kind of sometimes think like, you want your child to understand, because when they get out here in the real world, it is not going to be easy. It's not going to be handed to you. They're going to tell you, oh, this isn't right. Try back, come back tomorrow. We're going to do this again till you get right. Or in some situations, it's wrong, it's time to move on to something else. So I'm learning that now. They've made it a little bit easier. I will say different realms of like subjects like language arts and English. Of course, those are my favorite subjects. And science, love science. Now those haven't changed too much. It's kind of like the math is the only thing that I think has changed. So I'm learning. Like I said, I'm continuously learning. I'm in a math course now, so I'm constantly refreshing myself on those new materials that is your course that is being introduced.
Okay.
So,
So, and as far as the communication aspect, I think it's healthy though for parents to communicate with the teachers, because we don't always take it the next step. We
that's
just kind
it.
of give up. But having to communicate with the teachers, and my sister's an educator. She's an elementary
Hmm.
teacher, but I was talking to her about having some study tools, like go on YouTube and create a YouTube channel with your
Hmm.
math so that the parents too can go in and see the lessons for that day.
That's true.
This is a new way of educating your child. That way, the parent can also be in the
Hmm.
visual context of what was going on in the class for that particular math lesson.
Hmm.
And then you're not having to repeat yourself when it comes to teaching the kids. The parents can also walk alongside of you and
Right.
the child
That's right.
and champion what you're saying to class, because we don't know. We have no idea.
That's true.
Like, just do it like this.
Look,
What is it? PEMDAS. What is it called? PEMDAS? You know what I'm talking
you know how the parents are saying if Johnny had 5 apples, and that parent gets upset. I said five. Matter of fact, you know what? Just go to bed. You have to have patience. I'll be honest, it's not easy. It's not. This child has learned a whole new math concept, and then here they are. They come home, and then mom and dad do not know how to do this. I'm trying to make sure that you pass, baby, but I do not know it. But that's why, of course, it's important that teachers send those resources home. Of course, I'll send an active email
about? Yes.
of, okay, I have even college professors who will, of course, record themselves writing down how to write out a problem. I'm a visual learner, so that helps me out a whole lot more. And I think that'll help parents too as well. So, always being open to trying new resources to get that help to those parents whenever they are at home with their child.
Amen. I'm sorry. I've got some distraction in the back.
Exactly.
So, but yeah, so I want to make sure that we get through we got a couple of more questions, and then I'm allow you to get back to your life. But I really appreciate the time
Yes.
that you've invested in this.
Yes, I've enjoyed my time here.
Yes, it's amazing to have these types of conversations,
It
because
is.
you can cover so many other areas. You can cover so many
Hmm.
different areas that we don't necessarily focus on as parents. But I definitely know for me that communication piece was important,
Yes.
because when the kids came home, there was stuff that we didn't know.
Hmm.
So either a YouTube channel from the teacher or a podcast or something like that from the teacher would have definitely taken what we understood to be math to a different level as far as understanding. So just something that I thought of, and my sister and I talk about her
Yes.
classroom stuff. And I'll try to get on the show, but I know she's like, she's not
You
there.
should most definitely get on the show.
I tried, but she's not like right now. It's just she's just not going to.
Mhm. Mhm.
But I want to speak about what parents need to know. This is your chance to share with parents what what you feel that they need to know.
I would love to tell parents, it's a process.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of parents, I was looking at a news report and a parent wanted to sue, I think, the school board because, her child was in the fifth grade and he couldn't read at all. He knew nothing. But, you have to understand that you are your child's first teacher.
Hmm.
From the time that, even times when, you're sitting there, you're just singing to your child, or you're in the car picking them up from school and you're like, what color is the tree? What color is the sky? How many animals and how many signs do you count? Understand that, that little time that you do have with your child, because of course, when they're in the classroom with me, they're with me maybe more than 40 hours a week. They're with me a long time and then they're back home. They spend a lot of time with me, understanding and letting parents know that, that time alone with your child is important. It's the most vital time. You know, you're your child's first teacher. You're modeling, who they should be as an adult, as
Hmm.
a student, and they're paying attention to those things.
Yeah.
And of course, listen to your child when they tell you something. Listen, when I say that, listen to, hey, mom, I have a question about this. Answer those questions. That was something I'm thankful, with my parents, my mom, whenever I had questions about something, she was honest with me, but she gave it to me in a way that understanding and a way that, she's not gonna baby me because she knew that, okay, I have a young daughter who's gonna, of course, later turn into an adult. And I want parents to understand we're human just like, they are. And, act with patience with these teachers. We deal with a lot, surrounding and, when we're there all day with your child, our main focus is to make sure that they're learning as much as possible, that they're getting the same love that they're getting at home, or if not even more love than they're getting at home, and
Hmm.
making sure that they're feeling comfortable in their learning environment. So just remind the parents to be patient with us. We love your child as much as you love them, and that we're doing the best we can, even not even more, doing all we can to ensure that they're successful. So,
Mm. That's good. That's good. I definitely can understand your perspective as an educator and where you
hmm
are in the things that you're experiencing in the classroom.
hmm
And so, my last question: what is next for you? Where is God taking you on your journey?
Oh, in my journey, of course, finishing up my education journey now. My last semester, I will be interning at a school system. Not sure which school system I'll be placed at. My heart's desire, my plan is, of course, to later get, of course, get into education administration or education leadership because I do later would love, or I would plan to be a principal or assistant principal or later work on the school board, to implement those changes. I want to first build my way up. Of course, I want to have my experience as a teacher in the classroom because I can't say that I want to work on a school board and I haven't had that hands on experience. That's not fair to, those people who are coming in who need to make changes. I need to first get my hands dirty. I
Yeah.
don't mind getting my hands dirty. I want to do that first. I want to work my way up, and of course, I want to make changes because this is truly where my heart is. I love what I do. And of course, a lot of people say, well, you're not going to make money. I said, the money will come. I said, God's taking care of me, this far. I know He's going to take care of me, wherever I go.
Yes.
So I have to be mindful that. So, like I said, I'm always learning. I don't mind getting a couple certifications.
Hmm.
I don't mind, of course, taking the extra classes. I don't mind putting in the extra time, staying up a little bit later to, of course, make sure that I'm successful because I have to understand that there are people who are going to come behind me and I want to make a difference. I plan to make a difference. And I
Hmm.
hope even now that I'm making that difference too, as well. So definitely be looking for Miss Evans, your superintendent, or Miss Evans, your child's principal. So I look forward to that. So I'm preparing myself now.
Yes, and you definitely have that on you. The way that you handle and deal with and interact with people,
Yes,
I
ma'am.
definitely can see that on you. I love your presentation and how gentle you
Mm,
are in handling delicate matters.
yes.
I really do appreciate that, and I believe
Thank
it'll be of
you.
great value and necessity for such a time as when it comes. It will.
Yes.
And who you are, I just pray that you don't become jaded in this system of
Mm,
education, but that God will
definitely.
begin to maintain
Mm-hmm.
your what's on your life, the
Oh,
grace
well,
that's on
thank
your
you.
life to be
I
able to
receive it.
interact with different types of families from all different walks of life. So I'm
Yes.
blessed, and I feel grateful to know you, to have you on the show. And
Thank you.
there's
Thank you for this
nothing
opportunity, Erica. Thank you.
absolutely. I'm excited to see the recording. It's going to be amazing.
It's gonna be amazing. I hope it was a great recording. I hope. Well, I'm thankful for everybody who's watching. So, of course, like I said, continue to support, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and of course, those who are watching, of course, any kind of encouraging tips or motivation when it comes to those in education. Because I'm gonna finish this.
Yeah.
I'm going to endure to the end, and I
Yes.
will finish. It may have taken me longer to
Mhm.
get to the finish line, but I know my reward in the end is going to be truly rewarding, and I look forward to it. So I'm excited.
Amen. I'm excited too. Thank you again, everyone who tuned
Thank
in.
you.
I will make sure that I'm interacting with you guys during the live. We actually going to post this in April, I believe it is.
Yes.
So it's going to be more to follow on when this episode is going to air, but it'll be airing within the next month. So just looking forward to greeting you guys
Yes.
online, and definitely thank you, Patience. My husband calls her
Thank you.
Hey, Pat. So
That
we
is my nickname. So he's
yes,
caught on real quick. That's what they call me. So
yes, we absolutely love you and thank God for you.
yes, and we love you guys too. Thank you so much for this platform and allowing people to come on and be themselves. Look, I took a okay, I
Yeah,
feel good now. So thank
you're
you for it,
natural.
Erica. Continue to use your gift and spread, of course, that gift and that love that you have for people because people are watching. You never know who's watching you. So who never needs that encouragement. So continue to do that as well.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hmm.
All right. Well, stay tuned. Stay on there, and let me get this recording